John Grinder is primarily known as the co-creator of neurolinguistic programming (NLP) with Richard Bandler in the early 1970s. A linguist by background, Grinder applied his expertise, particularly in transformational grammar, to model the language patterns and behaviors of highly effective therapists, such as Fritz Perls Gestalt therapy, Virginia Satir family therapy, and Milton Erickson hypnosis. This modeling process led to the development of key NLP concepts and techniques, documented in books like The Structure of Magic and Patterns of the Hypnotic Techniques of Milton H. Erickson. Grinder also played a significant role in developing the new code of NLP with Judith Delosier, and he continues to conduct workshops and seminars on NLP internationally with his partner, Carmen Bostic St. Clair. John Grinder's early life laid a foundation for his later work in linguistics and the co-creation of NLP. Born on January 10, 1940, in the United States, not much is publicly known about his childhood. He pursued higher education, earning a bachelor's degree in psychology from the University of San Francisco in the early 1960s. Following his undergraduate studies, Grinder served in the United States Army as a captain in the U.S. Special Forces in Europe during the Cold War. His linguistic aptitude during this period also led him to work for a U.S. intelligence agency. In the late 1960s, he returned to academia, shifting his focus to linguistics and eventually earning his Ph.D. from the University of California, San Diego, in 1971. His doctoral research concentrated on transformational grammar, particularly on deletion phenomena in English, a field he explored further as an assistant professor of linguistics at the University of California, Santa Cruz UCSC. It was at UCSC in the early 1970s that he met Richard Bandler, a psychology student, which marked the beginning of their collaborative journey to develop neurolinguistic programming. John Grinder's academic career in linguistics, preceding his work on NLP, was marked by a deep engagement with the then dominant paradigm of transformational generative grammar. His early research, particularly during his doctoral studies at the University of California, San Diego, focused heavily on deletion phenomena in English. This involved investigating how certain elements of a sentence, though not explicitly present in the surface structure, are understood to be there due to underlying grammatical rules. His 1971 PhD thesis, on deletion phenomena in English, and several articles published in Linguistic Inquiry during that year, such as A Global Constraint on Deletion with Paul Postal and Chains of Co-Reference, demonstrate his meticulous analysis of these complex syntactic processes. Beyond specific deletion rules, Grinder's linguistic work also explored broader theoretical issues within syntax. His 1970 paper, Super Equi-NP deletion, addressed a specific type of noun phrase deletion, and he later responded to critiques of this work. Grinder, John, Postal, Paul 1971. Missing antecedents. Linguistic Inquiry. 2-3. Mouton and Co. 269-312. Jaster 417-7639. His contribution on the cycle in syntax 1972 delved into the sequential application of grammatical rules, a central concept in transformational grammar. Furthermore, his collaborative efforts, like conjunct splitting in Samoan 1969, showcased an interest in the syntactic structures of diverse languages. This foundational understanding of how language operates at a deep structural level, including the subtle ways meaning is conveyed and omitted, would later prove instrumental in his efforts to model the communication patterns of effective therapists in the development of NLP. Grinder also contributed to the pedagogical aspects of transformational grammar, co-authoring a guide to transformational grammar, history, theory, practice with Suzette Elgin in 1973. This book aimed to make the complexities of transformational grammar accessible, indicating his commitment not just to research but also to disseminating knowledge in the field. John Grinder, Suzette Elgin 1975. Bully for Us. Syntax and Semantics. For Los Angeles CA, Academic Press, 239-47. While syntax and semantics in the title points to broader linguistic concerns, the specific article Bully for Us by Grinder and Elgin in this volume suggests a deeper dive into how meaning semantics is constructed and interpreted within language, potentially touching upon the pragmatic aspects of language use in communication, given the later application of their work to communication models in NLP. His continued engagement with the subject is evidenced by the publication of On Deletion Phenomena in English in 1976 as part of the Janulinguarum series, suggesting a consolidation and wider dissemination of his doctoral research and related findings. Overall, Grinder's linguistic period was characterized by rigorous theoretical inquiry into the mechanisms of language, providing a robust analytical framework that he would later adapt to understand and replicate human excellence in communication. John Grinder's pivotal role in the co-creation of neurolinguistic programming (NLP) is most clearly articulated through the foundational books he authored or co-authored, primarily with Richard Bandler. Their initial groundbreaking works, The Structure of Magic I, a book about language and therapy 1975, and The Structure of Magic II, a book about communication and change 1975, laid out the core methodology of NLP, modeling. These books explored the linguistic patterns and communication strategies of highly effective therapists like Fritz Perls' Gestalt therapy and Virginia Satir family therapy, aiming to codify their magic into replaceable models. This early period introduced concepts such as the metamodel, a set of linguistic distinctions for identifying and challenging limiting beliefs and thought patterns, derived largely from their observations of Satir. Following the initial Structure of Magic volumes, Grinder and Bandler delved deeper into the specific patterns of renowned hypnotherapist Milton H. Erickson. This resulted in the influential Patterns of the Hypnotic Techniques of Milton H. Erickson, MD Volume I 1976 and Volume II 1977, with Judith Delosier. These books presented the Milton model, which detailed Erickson's artfully vague and metaphoric language patterns used to induce trance and facilitate therapeutic change. Through these works, Grinder's linguistic background was crucial in deconstructing the subtle verbal cues and structures that made these master communicators so effective, demonstrating how seemingly unstructured therapeutic genius could be analyzed and taught. Further expanding the practical applications and theoretical underpinnings of NLP, Grinder co-authored several other significant works. Frogs into Princes, Neurolinguistic Programming 1979 and Transformations, Neurolinguistic Programming and the Structure of Hypnosis 1981 were based on transcripts of their live seminars, offering more direct insights into their teaching methods and the dynamic application of NLP principles. Reframing, Neurolinguistic Programming and the Transformation of Meaning 1983 explored how altering the context or meaning of an experience could lead to profound personal change. Following his collaboration with Richard Bandler on the initial development of NLP, John Grinder, notably with Judith Delosier and later Carmen Bostic St. Clair, went on to develop what is known as the New Code of NLP. This evolution stemmed from Grinder's perceived coding flaws in the classic code, aiming for a more ecological and unconscious-driven approach to change. Turtles All the Way Down, Prerequisites to Personal Genius 1987, co-authored with Judith Delosier, marked an early significant articulation of these new principles, emphasizing a deeper integration of the unconscious mind and ecological considerations within the change process. A central tenet of the new code of NLP is the explicit assignment of responsibility to the unconscious mind for selecting desired states, resources, and new behaviors, rather than relying solely on conscious choice as often occurred in classic code NLP. This shift is evident in works like Precision, A New Approach to Communication, How to Get the Information You Need to Get Results 1993, co-authored with Michael McMaster, which likely elaborated on new patterns and techniques designed to facilitate this unconscious engagement. The new code often utilizes content-free states and new code games to induce high-performance states, from which the unconscious can then generate more congruent and ecological responses, as opposed to simply replacing one behavior with another. Grinder's work in the new code also reflects a continued emphasis on the fundamental principles of modeling and the ongoing development of NLP applications. Leaves Before the Wind, Leading Edge Applications of NLP 1994, which he co-edited, showcases diverse applications of NLP, potentially incorporating new code principles. More recently, Whispering in the Wind 2001, co-authored with Carmen Bostic St. Clair, serves as a significant text for the new code, offering further recommendations for the improvement and scientific grounding of NLP practices. Through these publications and ongoing workshops, Grinder has continuously refined and evolved the NLP framework, promoting a more fluid and less prescriptive approach to personal change that deeply respects the wisdom and capacity of the unconscious mind. Tom Malloy, Carmen Bostic St. Clair, John Grinder 2005. Steps to an Ecology of Emergence PDF. Cybernetics and Human Knowing. 11.3, 102-119. This paper, published much later than his core linguistic work, appears in a journal focusing on cybernetics and human knowing. While it might integrate linguistic elements, its title Steps to an Ecology of Emergence strongly suggests a focus on the dynamics of human interaction and communication, which falls squarely within the realm of pragmatics, how language is used in context to achieve certain effects and create meaning. It would likely explore the interplay between linguistic structures and the broader context of human understanding and interaction, moving beyond pure syntax. Finally, the more recent Origins of Neuro-Linguistic Programming 2013, co-edited with Frank Puslik, provided a retrospective look at the early days of NLP, offering historical context and diverse perspectives from the original development team. Together, these books illustrate Grinder's consistent dedication to articulating and expanding the practical framework of NLP, aiming to make patterns of human excellence accessible and learnable for a wider audience. Notes and references. On deletion phenomena in English. Janualinguarum. Series Minor. Mouton. 1976 ISBN 9789027930057. Thayer, Bruce A. Pignotti, Monica G. 2015. Science and Pseudoscience in Social Work Practice. Springer Publishing Company. Pages 56 to 57, 165 to 167. ISBN 978-0-8261-7769-8. Sharpley, Christopher F. January 1, 1987. Research Findings on Neurolinguistic Programming, Non-Supportive Data or an Untestable Theory. Journal of Counseling Psychology. 34-1, 103-107. doi 10.1037-022-0167.34.1.103. Witkowski, Thomas January 1, 2010. 35 Years of Research on Neurolinguistic Programming. NLP Research Database. State-of-the-art or pseudoscientific decoration. Polish Psychological Bulletin. 41-2, doi 10.2478v100059-010-0008-0. Linguistics Dissertations at UCSD, 1972. John Grinder 1971. On Deletion Phenomena in English, Ph.D. in Linguistics thesis. University of California, San Diego. OCLC 176411707. The Bio of John Grinder. NLP University. Retrieved January 26, 2007. John Grinder, Paul Postal 1971. Missing Antecedents. Linguistic Inquiry. 2-3. Mouton and Co. 269-312. Jaster 417-7639. Labov, W. Fox, R.C. 1973. Sociolinguistic Patterns, Physicians and Patients Facing the Unknown, ISBN 0-8122-1052-2p.198. Postal, p. 2008. Missing Parasitic Gaps in Parasitic Gaps, Peter W. Kulicover ed. The MIT Press. Linguistic Theory, Syntax, Semantics, Pragmatics. Annual Reviews p.351. Elgin has since published various poems and short stories. She is also known for her nonfiction series Gentle Art of Verbal Self-Defense series. E.g. Elgin, S. The Gentle Art of Verbal Self-Defense 1980, ISBN 0-13-351080-8. Malloy, T. E. Bostic St. Clair, C. and Grinder, J. 2005. Steps to an Ecology of Emergence PDF. Cybernetics and Human Knowing. 11-3, 102-119. Archived from the original PDF on March 11, 2006. Frank Puslik and the Early Days of NLP. September 30, 2010. NLP Trainers Training 2021. September 7, 2010. Grinder, John, Carmen Bostic St. Clair 2001. Whispering in the Wind. CA, JNC Enterprises. Pages 127, 171, 222, ch3, Appendix. Dash. Further reading. Nuessel, Frank H. Jr. 1974. Review, Grinder, J. and Elgin, S. 1973. A Guide to Transformational Grammar, History, Theory, Practice. The Modern Language Journal. 58-5. Blackwell, 282-283. doi 10.2307325052. Jaster 325052. Archived from the original on September 30, 2012. Prideaux, Gary D. 1974. Guide to Transformational Grammar, History, Theory, Practice by John T. Grinder and Suzette Hayden Elgin. New York, Montreal, and Toronto, Holt, Reinhardt, and Winston, 1973. pp 13+237. Canadian Journal of Linguistics. 19-2, 193-205. doi 10.1017s0008413100007787. ISSN 0008-4131. Korab, P.D. 1986. Verbal Phrase Anaphora, Linguistics or Cognitive Science. Studies in Language. 10-2, 425-447. doi 10.1075 SL 10.2.07 ZO.